Hey everybody, Tim Norris here, aka GreyElephant, and welcome to GreyElephant Gaming. Today we're going to do a Kickstarter preview of a game that's currently on Kickstarter and only has about 5 days to go. It is called Trove, the Crystal Caverns, and this is by Leader Games. The concept of this is you have 4 main characters. A knight, goblins, a dragon, and a cave. Yeah, cave's a character. The knight wants to kill the dragon. The goblins want to kill the knight. The dragon just wants to get out of the cave, and the cave, well, it just wants to kill everybody. This will make much more sense as I show you how the game works.
Okay, so here we are. We got the game all set up. And here are the main characters. We have the knight here. The artwork in this game is absolutely beautiful looking. Next, we have the goblins over here. We have the dragon. And lastly, the cave itself. But how does the game work? Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the first character that would take their turn, and that would be the knight. And then I'll work around to the goblin, to the dragon, and then lastly the cave, and give you an understanding how on each character works. Alright, we're going to start with the knight, because she is the first player to go in the game. The knight starts with 2 of these hero tokens. Hero tokens are assigned to her player board to upgrade her character. She has 1 movement point and 1 strength, and these hero tokens can be placed in these boxes to upgrade the movement and the strength. She also has this starting equipment, and if you wanted to, you could put the cubes in those areas as well, and you can upgrade her equipment for like a shield so that you can't be moved by other players, a bomb so that you can attack the dragon, a bow, increases your strength, torches, and an ancient map that allows you to move through walls, yada yada yada. It's not necessary to go through every single one of these items. The point is that this is your equipment, plus you're going to gain additional equipment as the game continues, and you're going to be able to get more of these hero tokens, and we'll explain how you get more of the hero tokens. What you would do after you assign those is you're going to explore the cave. Well, I mean, the whole purpose you're here is to try to find the dragon, right? Only way to find a dragon is to look around. So right now she would have 3 movement points. So if she wanted to, she could pick a direction in the starting tile that she wishes to move. If she wanted to, she could move directly up to here and would flip that tile and see, oh, all right, well, we've got a treasure token on there. So the cave player would immediately take a treasure token from their supply and they'd place it there. And then they would also look to see if there's any open spaces next to where she landed. There is one. So we'd also take another tile and place it there to show that she can still continuously travel up in that direction if she wanted to. Now, if she was content, she could stop there, but she does have more movement points, so if she wanted to, she could continue moving. However, finding treasure right off the bat's pretty darn good, so maybe we'd like to stop and just kind of see what's in this treasure box. So if she wanted to, she could stop, she could open up this treasure, and then we have a treasure deck here. And then what we do is we just take the card and we look at it and we say, oh, okay, heroic boots. Double your movement. You cannot combine this with sprint. Sprint is basically when you say, hey, I need to move faster. Maybe the cave's starting to really get full, because you don't want the cave to get too full, because that means the cave player is doing really well. And if you wanted to, you could take, it says here, the knight may lose a hero token and a health to double her movement for the turn. Well, that's kind of what this is allowing you to do. And if you notice, it's got a little space here where you'd actually have to place a cube to be able to make that take effect. Now, there are other things that could happen. That was the best thing that could possibly probably happen. But we also have other things that could occur as well. We have events, and then we also have when the goblins come into play as well. Events come from this deck here. And basically, you just kind of look at it, ambush, add 2 goblins to the tribe of the knight's choice. And that'll make more sense here in just a second. Rats, basically you just take a damage. You have fresh water, you heal, so that's not really what the cave wants to happen, right? You can heal again, because cave bread, like you're gonna eat bread you found in a cave. I don't know what kind of fool you are with that. But basically as she hunts around, she's going to find these. But then she's also going to encounter the goblins. Now, her whole goal is that she wants to get to the dragon. Now, the dragon starts in the same spot that she technically does, but he's underground, and that's signified by his little sleeping mode. See how he's sleeping there? He's all curled up. And then when he wakes up, he's like, what's going on around me? Well, he will start there, and she can't necessarily attack him right away. She's got to be able to try to get to him. Now, the bomb can allow her to try to attack him if she wants to place a little token there. But kind of the problem with that is that your strength has to be able to exceed the dragons, and right, right off the bat, she's not going to be able to do that. So it's not going to really do her any good. So what she's going to do is keep wandering around, trying to encounter obstacles, trying to find treasure, trying to upgrade herself, trying to avoid the goblins as much as possible, because the goblins are going to be playing tricks on her throughout the entire game. Her goal is to find that dragon, kill that dragon. The goblins, well, why don't we go over and take a look at them next? One thing I want to talk about with her before I get to the goblins, I almost forgot, was her side quests. Now, she draws 3 of these at the start of the game, and if she's able to complete these, so for instance, this one here just says remove 3 goblins during an attack on your turn, she will gain extra hero tokens. She'll also gain extra hero tokens by defeating the goblins as well. And then whenever you gain those, they're going to be put down here, and then they'll eventually become available. So you can't put them, you can't activate them as soon as you acquire them. They just go here, and then at the start of your turn, they become available. Then you can continuously upgrade her character. All right, now it's time for the goblins. Now, the goblins are probably my favorites. There are 3 different tribes to the goblins. We have the Claw tribe, the Bone tribe, and the Eye tribe. And each one of them have their own little groups. Notice they even have their own little symbol on each one of these. And the Claw tribe is known for strength. The Bone tribe are great for summoning monsters and controlling them. And the Eye tribe, they're known for like manipulating the game and also leadership, I guess you could say. Now, what these guys do is that on the very first start of their turn is they're going to rage. What does rage mean? Rage means that you're going to go through each one of their cards here. So the Claw, we have war. The Bone, we have monsters. And with the Eye, we have secrecy. So we'll start, it always starts here with the Claw. And what we're going to do is we're going to draw cards from the war deck. Now, the thing is that you can draw up to 5 cards, but you're only ever going to gain the highest value on one particular card for each tribe. Now, what I mean by that is that right now, if you stopped, you would gain 1 extra goblin for the Claw tribe that you could place right there. You would gain 3 extra for the Bone tribe if you wanted to. And then you would gain 2 extra for the Eye tribe. And you would place them on the board just like that. And then that will increase the abilities of each one of your tribes. But if you wanted to, you could press your luck and continue. So let's take them back off for a second and I'll explain. You could say, well, I'm going to flip another one. Well, but if you continue, something may just occur. And down here it did. It says all tribes in hiding take a loss. Tribes with a goblin ruby are immune. So here's the deal. You're either active on the board or you're in hiding. And when you're in hiding, cards like this, well, they're not good, and you're going to lose members of your tribes. But when you're on the board is when you're actively hunting the knight player. And the goblins can only enter the board on little tiles here that are synonymous with their character. For instance, the Claw tribe, if you notice the Claw, he could enter in right there. The Eye tribe, he could enter in right here, but there's no Bone tribe symbol. Well, if there's never a symbol that matches your tribe, you could enter in on an adjacent tile just like that, kind of next to it, and then basically you're kind of set up and poised to be able to enter in the game on the next turn. So what ends up happening is if you flip over another one, you're still only going to gain the highest value for the cards. And what I mean by that is that once again, this is 1 and a 1, okay? So the highest value is 1, so you're still only going to gain 1 for the Claw tribe. 1 and 3. Well, you don't add them together. 3 is the highest, so you would still gain 3 for the Bone tribe. And then 1 and 2, so you'd gain 2 for the Eye tribe still. All right, but the more you press your luck, the greater the chances are something bad's going to happen to you. So you got to keep that in mind. Next, what would happen is you'd go to the Bone tribe, and they're going to draw depending on where they're at on the level of their track. So, for instance, if they have no orcs, or I'm sorry, goblins here on their board, nothing is going to happen. But once they reach this level here, they get to draw monsters, and then they get to assign them down here. Now, initially, because they're weak and they really can't control these monsters very well, they can only assign monsters to themselves. So they can assign a monster, and these monsters will help attack the knight. Next, we'll go over into the secrecy deck, and that's for the Eye tribe. And you're going to draw based upon what it tells you on the player board. So, for instance, we're all the way down to here. It says draw 2 secrecy, and you get to keep one. So you can draw 2 of them off of here. and then you can just choose one, say I want that one, and then you get rid of that one. Now what they're going to do is they're going to move around and they're going to try to attack the knight. So we've got all of them on the board. So they were hidden, now they're revealed, they're on the board, we kind of know exactly where they're at. And what they're going to do now is they're going to move around and they're going to try to go after the knight. Now the problem with that is that their strength must exceed the knight's strength, and off the bat that's not necessarily going to be easy to do. The other trick is that they can only interplay on tiles that are connected or that represent their tribes. So like the I tribe, yeah, they have a strength of 3 at the moment. They could go here, but there's a wall there, so therefore they can't get to the knight, and they'd have to go all the way around to be able to get to her. But the problem with that is that each time the goblins move through a lit area on the map, they lose a member of their tribe. What I mean by that is that if they go 1, 2, and then in their movement here to try to go after the knight, well, they just lost 1, 2 of their tribe members in the process of trying to get to the knight, because I guess they kind of like get distracted and like, hey, look, oh, there's something shiny, and they run away after it. And now their strength is only 2. Well, the knight's strength currently right now would be 2. Therefore, they're not really going to do much of anything to the knight. So that's not really going to be effective. So what they want to do is just try to stay as hidden. Or they want to try to use their cards here too to be able to try to gain extra abilities, their secrecy cards. Now this is also where the monsters come in play. And that's where the Bone Tribe's so proficient, in that sometimes, like this golem here, this tribe can move through walls. So the Bone Tribe could move through walls, but the issue with that is the Bone Tribe's not even on the board at the moment, and it would take them a while to even get to her, not to mention their strength's not even strong enough. Your strongest tribe is the Claw Tribe. They start with +1 attack already. And if they wanted to 1, 2, 3, see, I mean, they could even go 1 and move down to here, but still their strength is only 2. So you understand how that works. Now, if their strength was greater than the knight's, yeah, then she would receive a wound, and we could take a look at that over here again if we wanted to. And then she would go down, and she starts with 7, and if they can get her all the way down to 0 health, then the goblins could win the game. But that's a little easier said than done, given the fact that this knight could really kick their butt very easily if played correctly. Let's take a closer look at their board and some of their cards. Now, as the Claw Tribe builds up, if you notice, they're all just about strength. They just want to get stronger, stronger, stronger. The Bone Tribe, what they do is as they grow in strength, they're going to be able to draw more monster cards, and then they're going to have the capacity to start assigning them to the other tribes as well. So let's take a look at some of them cards that could possibly pop up, like a Troll. This tribe fights with +1 strength. An Underworm. Once per turn, this tribe can move up to 2 spaces in one diagonal direction, ignoring lit tiles. See, that's fantastic. That would be what the Claw Tribe needs, so that they would stay more powerful. But the thing is, each tribe can only have 1 monster, except for the Bone Tribe. When they get to +4 strength, then they could technically get 2 monsters. So you get the point of that. Now, the I Tribe, the deal is that they're going to be able to draw extra secrecy cards. And like I said, these kind of help you break the rules of the game to allow them to do all kinds of little mischievous bad things. And I love the artwork in this game. I think it's really cool. And that is probably one of the things that attracted me the most out of the game right off the bat, is when I saw the artwork. Here's the thing. You don't want to reach 15, though. Because if you get 15, then you're kind of like you're overpopulated, and then something bad happens. So if you hit up to 15 in one of the tribes, a disaster occurs. And in the case of the Claw Tribe, you have to discard all your secrecy cards that were in your hand. With your Bone Tribe, all of your tribes go into hiding. You may choose to take a loss with the Bone Tribe. I've never had that happen. I don't remember what it was. And then lastly, we have the I Tribe. It says 1 tribe takes a loss. So you don't want to build up too fast. You can also gain totems during the rage, and these are things that basically what you'll do is just put a little marker there, and then each time you gain a member, you're going to gain an extra one. But once again, that's good because, yeah, you're going to get stronger, but it's also bad because you're going to keep hitting this disaster because you're going to be so strong. All right, now it's the dragon player's turn. Now the dragon has been asleep for 200 years. Little groggy, bouncing around, and initially the dragon starts underground. And what I mean by that is that the knight just can't initially just jump and pounce onto the dragon. And the dragon will typically try to stay in the shadows for a little while. So for instance, like this tile was still face down like that. he would stay in the shadows and just try to bounce around. And he might actually attack even the goblins that are in hiding. So, for instance, see the goblins down here. He would possibly go after them, try to gobble them up a little bit to regain his strength some before he reveals himself in the actual cave. And then, you know, kind of becomes a free-for-all at that point. Now, the dragon's main goal is he's trying to shake off his slugging, or is this sloth is what it's listed up here. To be able to do that, he's got to do certain things. And each one of these, here, we'll pull these off. Each one of these has certain conditions. So like greed says, gather one goblin, ruby, or treasure trove. So if you're able to do that, you can take a block off here, and you can start filling in this spot over here and start filling in these little blocks here. Once you get the 11th, then it's a matter of just escaping the cave. But the thing is that you're not allowed to do multiples in one category. So you can't do that twice in one turn. But you could possibly do one from each one of these in one turn. That'd be a little tough to do, but it's not impossible. So for instance, hunger says eat 6 goblins. Now, if you had, say, 12 goblins, you'd only be able to still turn in 6 of them, because as you eat them, you're just going to put them on your board, and then you're going to slowly but surely just take them back off your board, turn them in, take a cube off, and place it over there. So it's not necessarily the easiest thing to do, but as you get stronger, it is definitely doable. Then we have pride. Pride says explore an event tile. So if you explore an event tile, you can take one of these off, or place a dragon gem where another dragon gem is already on the board. And I'll explain that in a second, or just don't move. And if you stay right where you're at, you're going to be able to take one off. So as you place these on here, you're going to become a little bit more powerful. I placed it on the 2. I meant to place it over here. So placing it there, nothing happens. But as you go, say like the 2, now your armor is only still 1, but your spirit's 4. What does that mean? Well, at the start of the game, you're going to have 3 cards in hand, and this is how you're going to do your special abilities with the dragon. We have claw, wing, flame, okay? Each one of the claw, see there's the claw symbol, flame symbol, wing symbol, and you can play these out of your hand to be able to do special abilities with the dragon. So for instance, like with the flame, actually let's go with the claw. It says you would roll the die, and then all affected goblin tribes take a loss. Eat all lost goblins. Move the knight 1 space. So if you're on a space with the goblins, you can roll this, you can do the flame or the claw by playing the card. You would activate that ability, and possibly then you would eat up the goblins that were there. But the thing about it is that you are only successful if the center doesn't have a pip. So a 2, a 4, and a 6 are successful. Everything else would be a miss, as according to this little thingy chart here that they posted up. So the whole goal of the dragon is, and then as you increase your spirits, you're going to be able to draw extra cards, and then you have a big fat handful, and you'll be able to do a whole gob full of actions. But his whole goal of the game is to fill all of this up with all the cubes from here over to here, get all 11 over there, and then get back to the entrance and escape the cave before health gets eliminated. Now remember, if the dragon dies, then the knight wins. So the cave player is basically trying to, well, trap and seal all players in the game. I'm sorry, inside the cave. And they want to do this before the knight kills the dragon, before the dragon escapes, or before the goblins kill the knight, because that's their victory conditions. Now, the cave works very differently compared to any of the other characters. In fact, it's the most unique one out of the game, to be honest with you. The very first thing that the cave will do is it's going to collect omens. It's going to collect omens. It'll collect 1 omen token per crystal token in the cave, plus the number of omen tokens per treasure troves on the board. And what I mean by that is that as the cave is explored and opened up, you're going to come across these little crystal areas, okay? And this is really kind of like a victory condition for the cave, because what's going to end up happening is that we're going to be placing these little crystal markers onto there. And now, the knight and the dragon and all of them, they can attack these things, but the cave will use those to be able to get their omen tokens. And these are the omen tokens, and they're going to be drawn out randomly. So we got mushrooms, we got like water, we got bats, and crystals, doors, and rocks. And then what he's going to be doing is just like with the dragon, how he used his cards to be able to do special abilities. He's going to be turning in these tokens to affect the game board. So for like hatred, you get to place 1 extra tile. And what ends up happening is that the cave will always have 3 event cards, and then he's also going to have the cave tiles. So as you're going around and exploring, the cave is going to know which tiles are going to be placed next, because they're always going to get a little little look-see at them. So what they may want to do is try to maybe lead you into traps and bad things to maybe affect you with the events. They may be trying to get more of their crystals out immediately, but then you want to keep in mind that you don't want to necessarily lose those crystals, because that's how you're going to be able to win the game. Now, as the board keeps expanding and the crystals do come out, now mind you, as he keeps drawing, these are randomly stacked, and there you make 3 stacks, and you shuffle the crystals into there, and then you'll be drawing those as he's exploring. You're going to just keep drawing these, and then that's how you're going to get to them. But it's going to take a while before you get all of the crystals. In fact, and you will end up having to go through the entire deck before the collapse begins. Now, the way that the collapse works is let's say we've got all these out here, and we've got all our goblins, and we've got our knight out there, and let's just put some tiles out just to kind of give you an example. The cave player will end up removing 3 tiles on their turn. Now, the way that it works is that they have to remove tiles. So, for instance, the tiles that only connect to one space. So this only touches one side, so they could remove that one. Then they're allowed to start on tiles that connect to 2 spaces. So if he removed this one, the next one he'd have to remove is this one. So if he wanted to, he could say, well, I want to remove this one. Now it's still open up, and he could remove any of them. Now, he's never allowed to remove the start tile because, well, that's the entrance. That's the only way some people are going to escape. Now, if there were ever goblins, say, in hiding on some of these spots, and if he removed those, then them goblins, they were on the board, but he removed there, then they would go into hiding, which means that they would go back onto the goblin player board like that. The game will end, and the cave will win once he's able to remove 5 of these crystal tiles. So, that's not a crystal tile. That's a crystal tile. So if he's ever able to remove 5 of these crystal tiles, then he will end up winning the game, and everybody else is trapped inside the cave forever and ever and ever.
Alright, and that is Trove. Now, I know I gave you guys just a quick understanding of the game, and that's usually not our normal format, but we're in a bit of a hurry here. We only got a few days left on this Kickstarter. Now, one thing right here is the link to be able to go and check out the Kickstarter to get more information on how the game plays and maybe some of the stretch goals and yada yada yada. Now, they are technically funded already, so anything you add to this is just going to increase the value of what you're going to get from the game. I like it. I think it's a really cool game. Now, it does have a 2-player variant, and the way that works is that you just have a knight player versus the goblins, and it's like an NP dragon and NP cave, but it works very well. There's really no setback to it, and that's why I had a harder time trying to explain the cave and the dragon, because technically we've never even played with them. We've always played with the knight and the goblins, and that's just it. The cave and the dragon have never really come into effect, and I'd really be excited to try to play this with 4 players, because I think it would be really fun cat and mouse game where it's almost like sometimes you're almost going to form alliances when you see one player is getting a little too strong, but at the same time the alliances aren't really going to hold very strong throughout the game, because let's be honest, only one player can ultimately win it. Very neat concept, very unique, and a lot of fun. Like I said, I love the artwork in the game. Very solid game. I didn't really see any holes or broken strategies or anything like that while I was playing it. I love how you can upgrade your characters. I love playing as the goblins. I think that's just a lot of fun. It's like one of those deals where you just want to become stronger and build up your tribe, but oh, wait a minute. Don't get too strong or too powerful too fast. Now, I know I didn't give you guys all the information. We didn't cover, the dragon gems. We didn't cover the totems. We really didn't go into much deep description of the crystals themselves and how we're going to get extra hero tokens from that. You could even refuse to take treasure and get hero tokens. And, there's a lot of different little things you do. And but that's why I suggest that you do follow the link. You go check out the Kickstarter, and that'll give you more information. Plus, you can also check it out on Board Game Geek. They do have it listed up over there as well. And as usual, I appreciate you watching. Bye-bye.